So I just got a notification on Twitter about this story. And I felt like it would be worth watching here and trying to get the word out about this. The headline is Search in Sagkeeng First Nation in Manitoba identifies 190 anomalies in the ground. We'll play the video.
A troubling discovery on a Manitoba First Nation. After a year of searching, Sagkeeng First Nation is giving an update on potential unmarked graves. Standing by with the details for us tonight is CTV's Mason DePatie. So Mason, what is the latest on the situation?
The chief of Sagkeeng, Derek Henderson, says 190 anomalies have been found in the community. It's important to note these aren't confirmed graves, and as Chief Henderson explains, it could be a while before next steps are taken. Surveyors have been hard at work looking for unmarked graves of children who attended the former Fort Alexander Indian Residential School since June 2021. Now, a year since the search began, Sagkeeng First Nation is sharing its findings.
There was 137 anomalies in one area, and there's also 53 anomalies in another area.
The anomalies were found using ground-penetrating radar and drones. Sagkeeng Chief Derek Henderson says they're located near the river behind the community arena, about a kilometer away from the site of the old school. While he can't confirm if the anomalies are actually graves, Henderson says it fits what survivors say happened.
We made sure that they're not pipelines or water pipelines or sewer lines or things like that, right? So these are definitely disturbances in the soil that are something that we have to take a look at.
The Indian Residential School Survivors Society says discoveries like these can be triggering to survivors and their families.
Those would be definitely triggered and bringing back those sad and hurtful memories from their time at the school.
The organization says while these findings can bring pain, it can also lead to future healing.
For reconciliation to happen, we need all of the truth to come out, and right now we're still in the truth stage, and reconciliation will have to come later.
Healing is a difficult task. Mary Starr knows all too well, having attended the Fort Alexander Indian Residential School as a child. She's been staying at a camp outside the legislature since she first heard about the anomalies in Sagkeeng.
When I came back to Winnipeg, my stomach was in knot, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go.
As for soil disturbances, Chief Henderson is asking for patience as the community decides what to do next.
Right now, I'm leaving it up to our ceremonial people, our pipe carriers. You know, they will be the ones to get the answers as to when do we start moving forward, right?
Chief Henderson says the pipe bearers will meet within the next week or two. He says more updates will be provided when new information becomes available.
Mason, you mentioned how this can trigger survivors. Are there any support resources in place for the community?
The First Nation has its own health department and crisis team, but Chief Henderson says more resources will be made available in the coming days if needed.
This happened just last year in BC. 200 and something graves of children that the Canadian state murdered. And we're probably going to see similar numbers here, unfortunately. And from everyone that I've heard talk about this, this isn't really unexpected. Let's read the article. A search in Sagkeeng First Nation in Manitoba has identified 190 anomalies in the ground. Work now continues to determine whether these may be unmarked graves of residential school students. Sagkeeng First Nation Chief Derek Henderson confirmed on Monday that ground-penetrating radar had found 137 anomalies in one area of the community and 53 in another. While these anomalies were not found at the site of the former residential school, Henderson said the anomalies are disturbances in the soil that could fit the criteria for potential unmarked burial sites, but it's too early to say for sure. We don't know what's under there yet, but that's where we're going to start looking next, Henderson said, adding that they have ruled out pipelines, water lines, and sewer lines. Right now, it's an indication that there's something there. We need to figure out what it is, and then we would definitely deal with it at that time. Sagkeeng First Nation began its search in June 2021, following the discoveries of unmarked graves in Kamloops and other former residential school sites across the country. Crews have been using a drone and ground-penetrating radar technology to search the former site of the Fort Alexander School, where the band council office now stands. Disturbing accounts of time in school heard in the community. The school was built in 1905 and was run by the Catholic Church. Though it ended its residential school operations in 1970, it continued to operate as a day school for a number of years. According to the National Center for Truth and Reconciliation, multiple students tried to run away from the school, including one case where 2 boys drowned while attempting to escape by boat in 1928. The school had a reputation for abuse, with survivors counting times of starvation and harsh discipline to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What happened within its walls prompted the Manitoba RCMP to launch a large-scale investigation last year, probing allegations of sexual abuse. From the conversations we've had, some of our elders and some other survivors, they have said some things that are pretty disturbing regarding missing children, some things happening at the residential school, Henderson told CTV News, adding he can't say for sure if there are unmarked graves in Sagkeeng. I think when the day comes that if that's what we uncover, then I will make that statement. Discovery can be triggering, Survivors Society says. Henderson asked for patience in the community as work continues to determine the nature of these anomalies. He said he will be meeting with community pipe carriers to get direction on the next steps, adding the search is going to be community-driven. The chief presented this information to Sagkeeng members during a community feast on Friday, accompanied by memorial songs for missing children and a prayer from community elders. It's going to re-trigger, probably re-traumatize our residential school survivors, so we need to get supports in place, Henderson said, adding there are supports for survivors in the community. Bruce Allen, a support worker with the Indian Residential School Survivors Society, told CTV News discoveries like this have a big impact on survivors and their families. They will definitely be triggered in bringing back those sad and hurtful memories from their time at their school, he said. While the findings may bring pain, Allen said it can also lead to future healing. For reconciliation we need all the truth to come out. Right now we are in the truth stage and reconciliation will have to come later. So, I just wanted to share this story. It's heartbreaking that this kind of stuff keeps just popping up over and over again, and it's going to probably continue for the foreseeable future as different First Nations in different areas and different groups survey other land that had these quote-unquote schools on them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, have a great night and a great day, and peace be with everybody.